GameCentral readers discuss what they'd do if they could wipe their memory of a game and get to play it again for the first time. The subject for this week's Hot Topic was suggested by reader Taylor, who asked, what game would you like to play as if you'd never seen it before? Would you worry that your tastes in games have changed in the years since you first played it, such that there'd be a danger you wouldn't like it if you played it afresh today? Quite a few people said they'd be nervous about purposefully forgetting a treasured memory, but just as many were keen to play games like Super Mario 64 and Resident Evil 4 for a first time. I couldn't choose between these, but the two games with openings that truly gave me a wow factor at the time were firstly Zelda: Ocarina of Time. Leaving Kokiri Forest and into Hyrule Field as it came into focus was just beautiful at the time. While Super Mario 64 came before it, I think Zelda carried the 3D gold standard for years. Secondly, The Elder Scrolls 4: Oblivion, which again was coming out of a dark area, sewers in this case, and coming into a beautifully lit field really showed that the Xbox 360 was next-gen. These are games I've replayed multiple times over the years, and while both have been better, although Zelda is up for debate, as Ocarina of Time is still my favorite, they were both genre-defining for their time. Mr. Savaloy, this is an interesting question, but I think I'm going to go with Shadow of the Colossus. I played and loved the recent remake, but the problem is that the more I got into it, the more I remembered of the original game, which I have played many times, and by about two-thirds through I was basically anticipating everything just seconds before it happened. Not the game's fault, there's no way round the problem, and the game was still beautifully emotional, but to experience all that again? Yeah, I'd love to do that. And if this worked for movies, I'd choose Star Wars, but only if I was able to create a blind spot in my mind so that I somehow never realized there were any other films after the original trilogy. Roku, I wish I could have all the Uncharted and Tomb Raider reboot games wiped from my memory to play Uncharted 2 for the first time again, because I am a big fan of the Uncharted games and I bought the PlayStation 3 to play this game because of the favorable reviews and excellent trailer. Uncharted 2 was the first Uncharted game one bought. Although I like Uncharted, I do find the idea of the hand slipping on the handhold and nearly falling is not original anymore, but at the time I was gripped by the gameplay, characters, story, and set pieces. I never played a game before where I really cared about the characters and the story was as well written. I felt like I was playing and watching a big-budget action movie. I occasionally watch the story trailer again for Uncharted 2 now and again, as I think it is one of my favorite trailers ever. The PlayStation 3 generation was the first time I had bought all the consoles in a generation. I bought a Xbox 360 first in 2008, and then 2 years later when I saw Uncharted 2 I bought the PlayStation 3 specifically for it, as I said, as well as some other games I was interested in getting it for. I would probably enjoy Uncharted 2 to play it now, but obviously it would feel pretty dated. Here's the trailer. Andrew J. Undoubtedly, Super Mario 64. There's, sadly, not been any game since that has quite evoked the same level of emotion in me that I experienced upon seeing it in action, and of course, the excitement of that first play. The game really felt like something new, a pointer to the immense potential of the video game medium. From the freedom of movement afforded the player due to the strange new controller, the graphical fidelity, Mario in 3D, it was utterly sublime. Highlight? Probably firing out of the cannons in Bob-omb Battlefield, or swimming around Jolly Roger Bay, amazing. What I wouldn't swap to be that wide-eyed 11-year-old again. Bliss. Mark Fitz, email your comments to GameCentral@UCmetro.co.uk. One game one wish I could play for the first time again is not my favorite game of all time, nor even my favorite in its genre. It isn't even my favorite game in its own series. But nothing has compared to the awe I felt at playing Final Fantasy VII for the first time, so that is what I would relive if I could. European SNES owners really got the short end of the stick when it came to role-playing games, with many of the system's classics not hitting our shores until years after the fact, if they ever did at all, and on entirely different machines. So for a lot of people, myself included, Final Fantasy VII was unlike anything they had seen or played before. Right from the start of the intro movie, you could tell that it was going to be something different. The camera slowly pans across space, the stars becoming sparks from a fire in a city slum. The camera pulls out and shows you the entire city, which seems massive, before focusing in on a train. The train pulls into a station and, seamlessly, switches from pre-rendered cutscene to game engine, and you are immediately attacked. No waiting, no chance to figure out the controls, just straight into an adventure spanning continents, multiple discs, and multiple hours. The spectacle of that game has been repeated by others, and in most cases bettered in the years following its release, but this was the one with the biggest impact on me. I haven't gone back to it since the PS1 generation. Seeing how badly it has aged will likely only spoil my rose-tinted view of it. I bet that intro movie looks ropey now, and what limited game time I have I feel should be spent playing things I haven't played before. Aichihoba, PSNID, the first game one thought of for this was Bloodborne, because not only is it one of my favorite games ever, but the slow realization of just how amazing it is, and how much there was to it, is one of my favorite gaming experiences I think I've ever had. But to be honest, the new game aspect works really well to keep you playing again and again and to find lots more secrets that you didn't get the first time round. So assuming I've only got one mind wipe, I think I wouldn't waste it on that, but instead I think I would pick BioShock. That's kind of the opposite to Bloodborne in that there ended up being slightly less to the game than I originally thought, but the build-up in the first half of the game is amazing and you don't really get to replay that again because you know how it all ends. Catch up on every previous game's inbox. Here I can see why we would want to experience games again for the first time, especially story-led ones or adventure games. I personally think that the game being played at that moment in time, especially in my younger days, are unique to that moment, and playing them now for the first time, with years more life experience now assimilated, I may not have the same experience as I did then. In particular are ones I'd played with school friends, and obviously nothing will recreate that, but it's also the mindset of a younger person back then which would have shaped the way I thought and took in the game. They were newer to my mind then, and I would not have seen as many games quite like that then. Now I have seen a host of game types influenced by the past or ideas which now make the past gaming types seem way out of date. For the sake of this hot topic though, I will choose Terranigma for the Super Nintendo by Enix before they merged with Square. This magical game just blew me away with the beauty of it all. You are a boy named Ark who has to resurrect the world and get the trees and plants, then the creatures and eventually humans, to exist, which will lead to the technology and corruption and an encounter with a being of earth-shattering powers. This game has one of my all-time favorite soundtracks and an action-adventure top-down view like Zelda, A Link to the Past, one reason which attracted me to it first. The rushing attack is so addictive and the story and characters just really tug at your heartstrings as you see the history of nature and mankind battle to survive, which parodies our own Earth's historical and major events. Literally, I think about this game as a great moment in my life and would love an iOS version of it to take with me anywhere. To play this game again is like watching your favorite films and playing your favorite music albums. I would make time for this, and even if my memories were erased of this game first before I play, it's still going to be something awesome again even with less time to play it, but complete it again I would most definitely. A la carte. Email your comments to GameCentral@acmetro.co.uk. The small print new inbox updates appear twice daily, every weekday morning and afternoon. Letters are used on merit and may be edited for length. You can also submit your own 500 to 600 word 4-player viewer features at any time, which if used will be shown in the next available weekend slot. If you need quick access to the Game Central channel page, please use www.metro.co.uk/games and don't forget to follow us on Twitter.